And that shows are we live? Yes. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to this special episode of the Shift with CJ podcast. Why is it special? Because you guys have been asking me to biohack your beauty. And while I've spoken a lot about health, wellness, nutrition, I haven't really spoken about beauty too much. We also have an episode, I think it was episode 5 or 7, where I did speak to a beauty expert, but I have never spoken to an anti aging expert. So today on the podcast, I have someone very special for you. Why is she special? Because she's someone who I consider to be a master in her field. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on the show, Katrina Valente.
Thank you, CJ. That was a nice introduction.
You're welcome, Katrina. This is my pleasure. Now, I mentioned you as a master, and that's because you spent 28 years in this, in deeply immersed in this whole area of anti-aging and beauty. And the things that you do goes on and on. You've done pranic healing, you do some shamanic healing, you do color therapy, you do mesotherapy, you do microneedling. I have to catch a breath now. So tell us, how did you get into all this? Like, you could go after anything 28 years ago. Because the thing is, 28 years ago, the whole beauty thing wasn't even an industry. Now we know that beauty is one of the fastest and the biggest growing industries, even while people were sitting at home and struggling last year in the pandemic. I know that sales in Amazon and Noon and Namshi and all of these other brands that sell beauty products went up. But were you a visionary? Did you see this coming 28 years ago?
Not really. Ever since I was a little girl, it seems to be a bit of a cliche, but I always wanted to be a beauty therapist. So I didn't actually step on the path until I was 28. And I went to private beauty school and I learned all the basics, manicure, pedicure, facials. And then I went on to study holistic therapies, aromatherapy, reflexology. And I started my own business in beauty. And facials were always my favourite thing to do and the least amount of effort and where I could make my most money. But I had all these other modalities. I went on to learn crystal healing, NLP, colour therapy, Reiki. And so I thought, how can I put all of what I've learned into one treatment? So I came up with the concept of doing a facial and using crystals, colour therapy and reflexology in the treatment. So it works in a way that you're getting a whole experience and it's not just one-dimensional. But I've always been very interested in the psychology of the mind, so I always studied that a great deal. And, fast forward to present day, I've lived in Dubai 23 years. And I'm moving much more into the healing modalities and coaching. And specifically relationship coaching. But yes, I travel the world as an international visiting practitioner. I work with Six Senses and resorts like Antara. I'm going to be in Amalafushi over the Christmas season. And I have my own set of menu with different kinds of massage, lymphatic drainage, different facials. And I do tarot card reading and the raindrop massage.
What is a raindrop massage?
So that's using 9 essential oils neat on your spine and on your feet. This is very unusual because with essential oils you would maybe mix in somebody your height 25 drops in a carrier oil. But this is using the oils straight from the bottle onto your spine. So what it has actually been proven to do is realign the electromagnetic field of the body. So all my treatments are mind, body, spirit. So they are, all of them are healing to a certain degree.
And did you always have this way of like getting into treatment, or it progressed as time went by?
It progressed as time went by, but it was quite quickly. I mean, I studied over 5 years until I was qualified in all the beauty modalities. And then when I came to Dubai, I went on to learn a lot more about crystals and
Mhm.
color therapy and NLP. I studied kinesiology. I went on lots of shamanic journeys around the world,
Mhm.
understanding the mother-father dynamic and all of
Mhm.
this. So yeah, I am quite multidimensional, but I've always been known as a facialist and an anti-aging expert.
Well, that is a true definition of a master. If you were looking for a definition of a master, here she is. And one of the things that got me most interested about your work was that you were doing something apart from all the things, all the knowledge that you have and the wisdom and all the experience. You had a different approach to things, meaning that when people are focusing more on their outside beauty, and we know there are salesmen that will sell you snake oil and they'll tell you, oh, this is good for your skin, this is good for your eyes. You are focused on your inner beauty and inner peace. So you came across different because you started saying that first you need to make sure that you have inner peace. And let's look at ways to enhance that inner peace. And that inner peace will result in an outer beauty experience. So tell us, what does inner peace have to do with outer beauty?
Good question. Look, beauty comes from within. It's not an outside job. I mean, okay, you can look at the body and the skin superficially, but I think true beauty really shines from the inside out. Emotional, um, having your emotions in balance is very important. Meditation, being good to others, um, finding balance in your life. There's so many things that encompass anti-aging. It's not just one thing. It's lifestyle, it's fitness, it's food,
Mhm.
it's your thoughts, and I think if you can really find that balance within, then it shines outside of you. I mean, if you see healers and yogis, they have this light about them,
Mhm.
and it's because they are inwardly in balance and in love with themselves. And if we can live in a time, especially now, where we can accept what is at any given moment and try and stay in the present moment,
Mhm.
because we have everything we need right now.
Mhm. So the answer is not to look at buying that latest product that's going to be released in like 2 months, or it's not in going to an energy hotspot. Because what this reminds me also is that last week I interviewed um, a person who comes from a lineage of yogis, and he's done like a lot of like healing and meditation work. And one of the questions or one of the conversations that we spoke about was having to go up to a point to get something. And then he told me, wait, hold on a minute. You don't have to go anywhere. As long as you accept that what you're trying to do and you are in charge of it, you could sit anywhere and transform yourself. So it's not about, and we also know from psychology and like all this neuroscience that no matter what is your goal, if you're always, or like let's say everyone says I want to be happy or I want to be something else, and if you kind of keep chasing happiness all the time, you will never get to it. And the point that you accept, like you rightfully mentioned, when you accept and believe like whatever you have is making you happy and this is a happy state, you can find happiness in everything. And I first realized this when I was traveling in Vietnam, because I was in an airplane and we were talking to a lot of people and everyone's going for this an amazing vacation for like a month or a few weeks, and everyone's talking about some problems that they have in their life, and they're just like not appreciating the fact that they get to go on vacations, and even when they're in like good places they're complaining. And then I see some people in Vietnam and they're just like they're not having a hand, they don't have a leg, and they're playing cards on the street, and their happiness level, like their vibration is 10x, because they've accepted and they're not like looking forward to the next best thing. They're living in the moment. They're with four friends, they're on the street, maybe it's raining a little bit, but happiness, it
It's
was
an
10x.
inside job.
Yes.
I always remember talking about that. You've reminded me of when I was in Africa. and we were in the Masai Mara, and we went to see this village, and it was literally built of mud,
Hmm.
and you know, the Maasai people were so proud and so happy, and that has stayed with me to this day, because it's like, I think the more you have, the more not at peace you are, because
Hmm.
the more we want, and especially in this society with social media and perfectionism and narcissism, we've lost sight of what's real
Hmm.
anymore, you know? And everything you see in social media, it's not real. There's filters all the time. There's, you know, all these apps to make yourself thinner, more beautiful, you know, change the color of your skin. I mean, it's just, we are living in crazy times,
Hmm.
truly.
And this again brings up a question, because most of the people who are either listening to this or watching this, or like even is generally, especially in metropolitan cities, we are sort of like run by social media algorithms, and we are being, if you like, let's say now there are AI driven complex systems. If you're looking at someone who looks a certain way, or someone who's doing a certain activity, whether it's running or doing her makeup, and if you spend a few extra seconds on that post, chances are you're going to see the algorithm is going to filter things, so you're going to see the same things again and again. And this brings up another level of anxiety. There are people who are being depressed. There, at the extreme cases, people are even committing suicide. So as a beauty expert, when do you think people should draw the line and say that, hey, I mean, I'm looking at all of these things, but I don't want to be carried away so much? Because there's no perfect, according to me, there's no perfect beauty. Everyone is beautiful in their own way, and perfectionism
It's
doesn't exist.
boring.
And it doesn't exist. You're like,
Doesn't
the
exist.
more you try to chase perfectionism, like, obviously people can do a lot of things and try to get there, but chances are, like, you lose yourself on the way. And what is really concerning to me is that people under the age of 20, especially people when they're like, and we know for a fact that a person's prefrontal cortex at the logical center of the brain doesn't even get developed until they're 25. That's why you have all the people who are under 25, they're more risk takers. They end up in like jail often. They're just doing these spontaneous decisions. So I'm really worried about that part of the crowd, because they're the most vulnerable to like things like social media. So as a beauty expert, what can we tell them? Like, you've already said, like, it's all ridiculous, it's
Put
not.
down your phone and go into nature.
Okay.
That's what they need to do. You know, it's like, it's really gotten out of hand. And what makes me really crazy is all these doctors that are doing injections and plastic surgery on girls as young as 20 years old. I mean,
Hmm.
it's crazy, crazy what can be done nowadays. And it's just, you have to live each stage of your life as it was meant to be. You know, in your teenage years, you're meant to be going out, having fun, hanging
Hmm.
out with your friends. In your 20s, it's about learning who you are as a person.
Hmm.
In your 30s, you might find your soulmate, jump on the career ladder. By the time you're 40, you know who you are, you know, and people just skip all of these. There's no children anymore. They're just all way too advanced for their years, and I don't think it's a good thing.
So you'd say to slow down might be the key. Like, it also reminds me of like, in Japan they have, like, sometimes the doctor also prescribes things like forest bathing, shirin yoku, which is just going to
Absolutely.
the nature. And in some parts of the US and stuff, like, some more holistic doctors are also prescribing like green spaces or blue spaces. And we also know from research that people living around green or blue spaces are more mentally stable than
Yeah.
the ones that are living right in the middle of the cities, that cannot walk in a park, we cannot like connect with nature. And brings full circle to the point that you mentioned. It always goes back to how you can slow time down, how you can, like, not be, because also the way we've been designed is that we're getting so many bits of information. Just our body by itself, our nervous system is giving us almost 11 million bits of information. And this is regardless of all the marketing that you see when you're driving on Sheikh Zayed Road, which is a road in Dubai where they have all the posters and they try to like, good advertising though. And what your brain can really do is only take less than 20 bits of information at any time. And all of this information has to be the way we've been designed with evolution is that the way all this information processes, it processes first from our brainstem, goes through like the emotional centers of our brain called the amygdala. And this is, for anyone who's listening, this is the center of the brain that is involved in all kinds of emotions like anger. It's involved in fear, mostly for fear. And only once you can surpass this, it goes to the more logical centers of your prefrontal cortex, of your hippocampus. And with evolution, this all made sense because you first want to know something, you first want to gather the information from the environment that might hurt you. So you're always on the lookout. And if everything is safe, then you can think about more logical things. But when you're like surrounded by all this information, this is what I mean. Like first, when you look at Instagram or something like that, first your anxiety goes up, and then comes like after a certain point will come if you spend enough time in nature or if you've done meditation and you have a split of a second of a gap, which is very easy to say, but it's very difficult to do between the stimulus and the response. So if you can get that gap, and then you're like, oh, this might be fake. But most of the people don't have that gap. They don't have that realization. So they get straight into the fear part.
You need to come back to who you are. People have all forgotten who they are. And you need to do more work on that. And you need to limit your time on the phone. And you need to switch it off at night and put it in a different room. You know, all these people that live with their phone on silent while they sleep, it's so bad because the radiation is still on, constantly draining you. And it's one of the things that is very cancer causing in this day and age. You know, but we never had that so much 10, 15 years ago, you know. So I think it is about coming back to nature as best you can. Go to the beach, leave your phone at home. But we are all addicted, myself included. We rely on it, you know, and this is a big problem.
I think it is also because neuroscience it was in a stage of infancy when the social media wasn't there, but now there are professionals who have figured out a way to get certain responses in terms of neurotransmitters such as dopamine spikes, and you get some adrenaline when you see things, and these spikes constantly gets you addicted. There are some conversations, even when not on the main web, where the flicker rate of an app can also let you come back because your eyes do not perceive flicker, but your brain does. So if you can flicker things on different apps in a certain sequence, that can automatically take you in a different brainwave pattern. And if you're going towards a brainwave pattern of addiction, then
Which we all have.
which we all have.
Which we all have.
But then also, one nice thing is that you don't have to cut yourself out completely. Like Katrina mentioned, take some time off, go into the nature. It doesn't cost you much. It's for free. You get into a forest or places with tree, or here in the desert. The natural scents that are there in that environment, if you are in the desert or you're on the beach, take your shoes off, get some of those negative electrons that are coming from the mother earth, which will rebalance all of your body systems.
Let's explain that a bit more. So when you walk barefoot on the sand or on the grass or the soil, it does absorb all the negative ions that have accumulated in your body through using this technology. So it's very important. And also the sun, we should all get 20 minutes of natural sunlight a day without any SPF on, no sunglasses. They call it eye gazing. You have to gaze up at the sun gazing, with no glasses on, and then the vitamin D is absorbed properly into the body. And especially living in Dubai, most of us are deficient in vitamin D, and it's one of the main minerals that the body needs to function, So just little things, little things that you can do every day. Instead of, even if you go into a lift, nobody looks at you, nobody says hello. the head is down. I mean, imagine what that's doing to your back and your spine. And it's constant. Everywhere you go, people walking along the street, in the shopping malls, sitting in restaurants. It's just everywhere.
It's interesting
sad.
it's interesting you bring that up, because every time, let's say people who can see us, every time you put your neck down in a position that is comfortable to read the phone, the amount of pressure that you're putting on your cervical spine is 72 kgs.
Oh wow, I didn't
Yes.
know that.
And
Also for women, when you're bent over, it gives you a wrinkled neck, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
very bad for aging. So you should always, and even if you're working on the computer or a laptop, it should always be at eye level.
Okay, that is a very interesting
That's a
point.
good tip.
Yes, for all you women out there. And I'd also like to expand on something that Katrina mentioned. Yes, getting sunlight is so crucial, because vitamin D by itself, a lot of people think that it's just like a vitamin that it like affects one process in the body. But no, vitamin D, more than a vitamin, it's a hormone. And this hormone is responsible for more than 1,200 chemical reactions in the body.
Whoa, look at you, Mr. Scientist. I am impressed.
So with regards to like blood sugar regulation, when it comes to hormonal health, thyroid functioning, is just so much like, it's even just the fact that you're getting infrared light from the sun has been shown, and you can do this experiment at home. Like, the infrared light has a different effect on all plasma volumes. So like, let's say blood, our body is full of blood, the circulation is like 10x every time you're in a place with infrared and even like UV light and things like that. And also, like when you mentioned about the sunglasses, I see a lot of people would be going out in the sun, and they, even if they want to get their 10 or 20 minutes of sunlight in the morning, which I always recommend, because if you do this first thing in the morning, it also resets your melatonin rhythm, which is it's been called as like the sleep hormone, but it also is one of the most anti-aging hormones, because it can do like, it could get rid of cancer cells. It just does so many things. And it has a 12-hour reset pattern. So if you wake up in the morning first thing and you go outside, look at sun, or like be under some sun, that would reset it for 12 hours. And only after 12 hours, that's 8 p.m., you'll start feeling really sleepy naturally. You don't have to take any medicines or things like that.
That's right.
But the glasses part is because every time you block something, if you think that you're getting some sunlight on your skin and your skin is absorbing it, but there is a very intelligent timing system right in the back of your eye, and it times all of your organs and peripheral clocks. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And one of the ways the suprachiasmatic nucleus is restarted is also by light. And behind the eye, one of the things that it does is releases a hormone called alpha melanocyte releasing hormone. And I see a lot of people, like when people tell me that, oh, I've been out in the sun and I've been trying to get some tan and I can. I'm like, did you put your glasses on? And they're like, yeah. It's like, one of the things that makes you tan is alpha MSH or melanocyte, right? That gives you the color of your skin. And that gets blocked off when you don't have certain spectrum of light entering your eye. So that could be another tip for you guys. But I always have this, everyone keeps asking me this all the time, that is there any other way to like go out in the sun and be protected? And if you don't want to use commercial sunscreens, because we know that commercial sunscreen have other like parabens, phthalates, so many other things that can be carcinogenic.
Mineral sunblocks are good because it's minerals, it's all natural, and they do tend to give you a better protection. You will pay a little bit more for them, but you should never use a cheap chemical sunblock on your skin, because the chemicals can cause pigmentation, acne, all kinds of imbalances. And obviously that chemical is penetrating the skin and getting into your bloodstream, which is also not good. So I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to products, and with professional products, they always have the proper ingredients of a certain quality, but you need to be looking for things like zinc, titanium dioxide within our sun protection.
Mm-hmm.
But UV light is what really ages us. you know. So everything in moderation is fine. We do need sunlight, but most people, especially when you come from cold countries, they just see the sun and they go crazy. And coconut oil is also said to be one of the good things, which is a superfood. But you have to be reasonable. You know, salt water helps clear away negative energy. The beach is an amazing place to go to. Nature, walking in a forest, you know, it rebalances the energy body without you even knowing it. I mean, I've always preferred to go to the beach in the morning. It's interesting, before I even knew
Hmm.
what the morning rays did to you. And it sets you up for the rest of the day, you know.
Hmm.
So every little thing that you can do is going to help you as you age and into the bigger picture of your life. Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that. I think that would be really helpful for everyone because, like, winters are here. Everyone's outside on the beach these days, and some of the people are probably overdoing it. And I would like everyone who's listening to reconsider whatever we're saying. I mean, question it. Why not? You should question everything, and but just understand that there's always something called as homeostasis. So you and most of the things in a life is on a U-shaped curve. So you fall too short on the U-shaped curve, it's not that great. You fall outside the U-shaped curve, it's not that great. But the Goldilocks zone within the U-shaped curve is where you want to be. So depending on your skin color, depending on your ethnicity, depending on if you have, I mean, some of you guys, if you like super want to biohack it, get a genetic test done, see if you have vitamin D receptors, like, and how much vitamin D receptors do you have. There's also some genetic variants that don't absorb vitamin D or don't convert as much as vitamin D.
Yeah.
And it was surprising that I would always be out in the sun thinking that I'm getting a lot of vitamin D until and unless I rechecked my vitamin D levels. And it fell, I mean, I was still in the, I mean, I did not have low vitamin D levels, but I've spoken to some athletes who are like 70 years old, and some of these guys are, pioneers in like alternative health in US and stuff like that. And they've told me like, ideally, what they would like their vitamin D levels to be would be between 60 to 70 nanograms per deciliter. And I, thinking that I'm in the sun and I go to the beach a lot of the times, my vitamin D were about 30. So just because you're always in the sun doesn't mean your vitamin D will always be high.
No,
It doesn't work
that's
like
not,
that.
yeah.
So
Right.
I would always encourage people to check vitamin D levels, especially with a lot of the things that are happening in the last 2 years. We know that vitamin D is also one of the strongest protection mechanisms against any flu-like symptoms that the world might be experiencing right now. So,
And so, yeah, with vitamin D, I mean, especially women as they age, they really suffer, and the side effects are very low energy, a lot of fatigue. Their hair will start falling out. Their skin will look very grey. So it is important to have your vitamin D checked. And in Dubai, you can have a shot,
mhm.
which is really good and injectable. So it works immediately
Wow, okay.
with vitamin D, and also the B shots,
Mhm.
which are also very important for the nervous system
Mhm.
and for the skin, and lots of other things. So there are that option, but in this country particularly, there's most people do not have enough vitamin D in their body.
Mhm. And I think like globally as well, there's the stats are shocking that over most of the people in most countries around the world would spend anywhere between 70 to 90% of their times indoor.
Yeah.
And if you're like in a square office building with less sunlight, I mean, we know it from.
Then depression sets in. This is why a lot of people get, I think it's called the SAD syndrome in the winter,
Yeah.
where it gets dark very quickly,
Yeah.
and you don't really see a lot of light of day, and it's a real thing, and it
Mhm.
affects a lot of people. So yeah, the more sunshine you can get, definitely the better it is.
Yeah, so bring more sunshine in your life, guys. And I forgot to tell you before we started this conversation is that the mat that we have over here is directly connected to the ground, and it's actually generating negative electrons.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm keeping my bare feet. So if you want to remove your shoes and
Wow.
want to keep your feet on it, we'll balance some of
Do
the.
that.
Yeah, and like there are small things, guys. Like I've got like some black shungite over there.
Oh, black shungite. That's quite
Yeah.
hard to come by.
That is like offsetting some of the electromagnetic energies I have. This is something recently. This is a recent acquisition of mine, and it is basically the research has been done by an Egyptian scientist. His name is Dr. Ibrahim Karim, and this is called biogeometry.
Amazing.
And
I was looking at it actually.
yeah, and it works on the concept of an energy field called BG3.
Mm-hmm.
And without rabbit holing too much into it, because we want to talk about beauty, they have found that starting, well, let's say if you go to like a Egyptian pyramid, or if you go to an energy hotspot anywhere in the world, and if you start digging all of these things, right, you go down 20 feet, you will find that there has been remains of a previous civilization. You take it down another 20 feet, and then you will find there's been remains of another civilization. And what people have understood is that people have migrated from like hundreds and hundreds of miles to move to a place which had generated certain amounts of power and energy. And when they see a lot of these things, most of them like offset a lot of, when you go there, like your electromagnetic radiation really doesn't exist, even if you go there with a Wi-Fi, because it's the there are some geometrical shapes, and geometrical shapes have different sort of energy, so they can offset it.
Geometry, yeah, everything.
So the research has been done more than 50 years now, and they've come up with some line of products which kind of like offset all of that. So there's so many things that you can do to like offset this radiation. But I think more, when I first got interested in anti-aging was when I correlated anti-aging with peak performance. This was a few years ago, because I saw, and I had the pleasure of meeting one of the guys who first introduced the term like pro-aging, and this Aubrey de Grey.
I like that word better actually.
Pro-aging.
I mean, we're all aging, and it's a privilege to be older.
Mm-hmm.
The key is to age gracefully and in the best health that you can possibly be in. And that's what that's always been my goal.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why it's inner peace, outer beauty, because food is extremely important. I actually have a free course online. It's a
Mm-hmm.
9-video course. You just have to sign up to it on my website, katrinavalente.com, and I have videos 15 to 25 minutes long, and I'm talking about superfoods, products, crystals, color therapy, emotional therapy, detoxification. So all these things, if you do a little bit of each, it really helps you with the aging process. You don't have to be old and ill.
Yeah.
The
younger you start, I would say it's
Absolutely.
even better, because
Prevention is better than cure has always been my motto.
exactly, prevention has been better than cure. And when I look at aging, I think it's just different hits that you take to your body. And with a lot of time, as time passes by, you are going to accumulate a lot of more hits, which are going to be difficult to recover from. But when you're younger, you take lesser hits, and you prevent lesser hits for the future. So I'm always been a fan of just taking a step back, like trying to understand like what's really going on, what is aging. And I mean, there have been many theories. There's a mitochondrial theory of aging, there's you know the telomere theory of aging, there has been the free radical theory of aging, there have been uh, protein folding, and so many senescent cells. But when you're looking at aging,
And they're all true. It all
Mhm.
helps towards the aging process. Protein is one of the most important food substances to eat
Mhm.
for aging, because we need it for muscle depth.
Mhm.
And especially for women, for collagen production, protein is super important. Oils also, avocado. Don't be afraid of fat. You have to have the good fats. But instead of getting low fat this and low fat that, which is actually very bad for you because the process it takes them through to get to low fat is not good. You'd be much better off to have food in its pure state. Real butter, real milk. I mean, not that milk's great, but, meat, none of this processed stuff. It's just
So none of those veggie burgers that are beyond meat.
I did go vegetarian for a few years, but it just didn't.
How did you feel?
It didn't suit me because I'm an old blood type, so I work better on high protein, low carbohydrate. But I have friends that are vegetarian and they have no muscle tone, no muscle mass at all. And so as a woman, it's very important to get your protein in every day because the older we get, I think we lose 10% muscle mass every year.
It's 3% per decade, yeah. So it could be. Yeah. It's a condition called sarcopenia, and after 30, every decade that passes, and if you're thinking 3% isn't too much, it is a lot. And like Katrina mentioned, one of the biggest parameters or one of the biggest structures of aging is if you're not strong and if you don't have enough muscle mass, because muscle by itself, when you look at statistics, most of the people that get severely injured when they're old, or I don't want to use the word, but they die, is because they fall and they break a hip. And the reason that they fall and they break a hip is because they haven't conditioned themselves strong enough in their younger years. And with sarcopenia, they have lost a certain amount of muscle. And also, to add to that, as you age, so protein, when we think of eating meat, we think of protein. When we think of eating, fish, we think of protein, or protein shakes, we think of protein. But your body doesn't really use proteins. It breaks proteins down in something called as amino acids. And we have essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. Essential, and these are the things that we have to get from food. Now, when your body is processing protein, it breaks it down into amino acids, but you lose this ability of breaking or converting protein into smaller peptide chains of amino acids as you age. So that is why it's even more important, like Katrina said, to even eat more protein as you age, because your body cannot efficiently manufacture them into smaller bits of amino acids. And then with science, we also know that some of the things that if you wanted to, let's say you're looking at skin health, then we know one of the biggest trends that have been around is collagen. And what is collagen really, or what are some of these things? It's a mixture of glycine, proline, and hydroproline, which are amino acids. You take these 3 amino acids together and you make collagen. And that's how your body cycles all of these things. So don't be shy of protein. Make sure that it's a good protein. Like fried chicken is also a protein. But again, I would like to emphasize, just like Katrina mentioned,
clean, eat clean.
Yes.
And you should have protein with every meal. It's hard for women to get a daily intake of the right amount of protein, but you can have protein drinks, you can have protein bars as a quick snack. You should eat little and often is sometimes better because then it keeps the metabolism going. With collagen powders, I do take a collagen powder. I found out through a health coach I was working with, the best collagen is marine collagen.
Oh, wow.
And it's California Gold do the best collagen powder because it has to have 5 components to actually make it properly absorb into the body. So, we can waste a lot of money on things like this, but you have to do a little bit of research to find out what is the best one on the market because there are so many nowadays. But again, as we get older, collagen, it helps the bones, it helps the hair, the teeth, the skin. So it's good to take supplements. I've always been a bit of a supplement junkie. I don't believe you can get everything from food alone because we don't know how long it's been on the shelves, where it's come from. We don't know exactly what's in everything that we eat.
And also, I think there is a bigger question to be asked about, the effectiveness of our modern day agriculture practices, because 80% of the topsoil from this planet, unless you're going to some villages, is depleted. So what does that mean? Everyone's going to be deficient in magnesium. Everyone's going to be deficient in copper. Never people are going to have the right iron to copper ratio. And this is why we need, like, I mean, 30 or 40 or 50 years ago, we didn't need as much. But now with
Pesticides,
glyphosate, yeah.
And magnesium is also a super important vitamin. It helps the absorption of all the other vitamins. It helps you relax. It helps you go to sleep. It helps you go to the loo. So magnesium should be taken by everyone.
Is that something that you would recommend to most of your clients when they
Yeah.
come in, magnesium? And do you see like a quick effect? Like, what's your strategy on magnesium? Like, do you have it, like you recommend to have it with meals
Well,
or?
yeah, I mean, magnesium, yeah, you should, most of the supplements should be taken with food. But magnesium is super important these days. And it's also a mineral, so we lose a lot of that in our daily
Yeah.
breathing, sweating, going to the loo. But most of us are also deficient in magnesium. So again, most people need it.
Have you experimented with different types of magnesium?
Yes. They say the citrate one is the most slow absorbing into the body. It's not the one I prefer. I prefer the other one. The name
Glycinate?
escapes me. What one was that?
Glycinate or threonate? And it's funny because magnesium has like 7 or 8 different types. So there's citrate, there's orotate, there's glycinate, there's...
or you can have a mix of all of them in one capsule. Capsules are always better than tablets because capsules absorb much better. And you could also open the capsule and break it into smoothies and stuff, because all that has to go through the liver. The liver detoxes everything in the body. And the liver is also where we hold anger on an emotional level.
Oh, wow.
So we should always try and I'm a big believer in detoxing, doing juice fasts, water fasts. Food is a bit overrated. We don't need to eat as much as we do. And especially in this day and age where there's so much fast food and things that are just not good for the body. So we should always, this is another big anti-aging tip. Come back to eating whole, natural foods. Lots of protein, lots of vegetables.
What's your favorite?
My favorite is fish and eggs.
Okay.
And I love salads. I love everything that's healthy. I'm not too much of a junk food. My thing is desserts and chocolate and ice cream.
So you're a bit of a sweet tooth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like most women.
Okay, yeah. Most of the women that I speak to, one of the things they always tell me is like, can I please have that chocolate? And I'm like, okay, so let's look at some of the trends. What have you seen recently that has come on which doesn't hold so much of an efficacious application? Whether is it a supplement or is like a type of like facial treatment, or what is the thing that you've seen that holds a lot of promise in the future or currently as well?
You put me on the spot now, CJ. Let me think. I always get a blank. There's a lot of treatments out there that are gimmicky. A lot.
Okay.
I still believe in going back to the natural way, and deep tissue massage on the face is amazing. It stimulates all the blood flow, it relaxes the muscles, because our face is a map of our body. All the organs are on different points of the face. So when you're massaging the face, you're massaging the whole body. It's the same with the feet. The feet and the hands are a map of your body. So when you massage your hands and your feet, this is why it's super relaxing for most people, because it's like you're massaging the whole body, and you have meridians on each. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side of your body. So they go in a straight line. So when you massage over these areas, it gets rid of all the crystals from the body.
Interesting.
But going back to trends and stuff, I mean, actually, the Bacau method of massage, and there's some Japanese facial massage, they're becoming very popular these
Mm-hmm.
days because I think in all this high-tech world, people do want to go back to nature. There are a lot more people growing vegetables in their garden, for instance. So I think it's important to come back to your roots and just try and live as naturally as possible.
Okay, interesting. With this massage thing, I've never tried a deep tissue massage on my face. So that is something that I would look forward to. Is that something that you offer?
I do,
You do.
yes.
Okay, perfect. So we'll talk about this offline. You also offer something called as color therapy, and I know you have something with you with
Yeah.
colors. So let's
Let's
see
do a
what that is.
test. So with all my treatments, I do the color test because this lets me know where the individual is on an emotional level. Because all these colors are related to the chakras of the body, and there's 14. So when you look at these colors, CJ, I want you to quickly give me 4 that you're attracted to right now. It's got
Okay.
nothing to do with your
We
favorite color.
haven't seen this. We haven't planned this before, guys. Now she's put me on the spot. So, all right, let's do it.
You have to reveal your emotional state
Okay.
though to the viewers. So no thought processing at
Mhm.
all. The subconscious mind knows what the body needs and it's your first instinct. If you take too long, the conscious mind steps in and then it's lost.
Sure. This is
Indigo, yeah, tell me.
blue,
Turquoise,
purple.
purple, and
Gold.
Okay, so let's pull them out. Indigo.
I try to be as fast as I can. Like my logical mind is like, oh, this is your favorite one right now.
So what we do is we get you to inhale the perfumes, and the perfumes have been made to match the same vibration as the chakra through using different essential oils. So it is actually quite scientific. So when you inhale the perfume, it gets into the biochemical rhythm of the brain and disintegrates your negative thought processing. So once you've inhaled them, I'll tell you what they mean. So the first one, give me your hands.
Yeah.
Rub together, wave around your aura, and then inhale 5 times. So really inhale that fragrance. So perfume is used for a reason. We always have memories of smells, and some are good, some are bad. But perfume inhaled like this gets straight into the cells of the body and acts immediately to change the mood of a person. I've worked with this system for over 15 years and it really, really works. We have oils and serums that we use on the face and the body. So it works on the emotional level as well as the physical. And it resets your energy body in that way. So for CJ, the first colour is what he wants to connect to. The second colour is the block. The third is the support to open the block. And the fourth is where he wants to be in the not so distant future. So today, what you want to connect to is your third eye. You want to use your intuition. You want to get clarity of mind. You need to go within. You need to meditate. Clarity is the key word. Where you're blocked is the thyroid. So this sits between the heart and the throat. So this is about peace and tranquility. It's about expressing yourself from a place of love, being your true authentic self, saying what you feel. You're not doing that right now. What's going to help you is if you tap into your inner wisdom, your self-confidence, to be your true authentic self. And gold is the spleen, so the spleen is here. And if you do that, it will open up this center, so you will be able to speak your truth, to find peace and tranquility, which will lead you to the crown center, and you'll be more balanced if you do that. Your connection to your higher self, to God, to all that is also a meditation color.
Amazing.
Am I right or am I right?
You are very correct.
Yeah.
And
It's
I'd like
always
to
correct.
and I'd like to share a story. What you've just mentioned, about 3 years ago, I was in India and I ran across this old Russian tech where they were trying to scan the aura, and they gave me a printout and with different colors of my aura going around. And one of the things that I was facing 3 years ago was that I wasn't tapping into my self-confidence enough, and I was very shy. I was not able to speak. So I'll try to find and try to upload this for the people who are seeing this. But the the practitioner told me that I have some blockage in expression. So what she told me was there was some energy blockage in the throat, and this is why I wasn't able to express myself. But as time went by, I mean, I wouldn't say it went back completely, but like I've been trying to work on it, and it's surprising. Like after 3 years, you point out to the exact same thing. And the other thing that I would like to share is that the first scent that you gave me, it was nice, but then the last two, it gave me a different, like I'm unable to articulate and explain the sense of relaxation that I feel right now. And I did when I was inhaling those, especially this third one. It's like,
Because that's your support. If you really love or really hate the smell, it means your body really needs it because it's what you're lacking in.
uh-huh. And what was like the second or the third one? Because
The
it was,
second was the turquoise and the third was the gold. So the gold smells very lemongrass.
it was like I have been through sessions where, I've lied on pulse electromagnetic field therapy mats and tried to get into a state of relaxation. I've tried, blasting light through my inner meridian channels of my ear and having like a retinal flashing. It's something that I have here as well. And guiding through these holotropic sounds and things, and I've got into a relaxation. I've even put electrodes on my head and try to get into relaxation. But this one felt different. This one felt like I was sort of like coming out of like a meditation session, but at the same time,
Well, I mean, they are organic, they're pure essential oils. And remember, essential oils have been used for centuries with
Yeah.
the Indians, the Egyptians, the South Americans. They were used in ancient Egypt to embalm the bodies. And that's why to this day we can still see remains of
Mhm.
mummies because it's the essential oils that preserve them. So they are extremely powerful.
wow, this
Yeah.
was really good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And you also do something that caught my attention, which was more on terms of energy clearing. And you do this distance energy clearing
Yeah.
thing.
It's actually probably one of the things I do most of these days. It's called Miracle Method, and I'm working with over 40 charts and a pendulum. So it's very esoteric. But what I'm working through is 8 different energy bodies, 6 different levels of consciousness through all your past lives. So you have to give me something that you want to clear, that you consider to be a block in your life. And it has to be under one heading: relationship, career, money, or health.
Mhm.
And then you give me 5 or 6 things that you feel are blocking you from attaining your highest potential. And then I work on the charts to clear it. And it works like magic.
And how long does this whole process take? Is this
You don't have to be with me. Once I've got the information, I just sit and do the charts, and then I send you a message on WhatsApp. I send you a picture of what because I write down a lot.
Mhm.
It's a process, obviously. I pull a few cards, and then the proof is in how you feel after it. It tells me exactly when it will integrate within the energy body and when you'll feel the physical shift. So it works in the same way as any coaching, any healing, any psychology session. You need a few.
okay?
Rome wasn't built in a day, and
Mhm.
usually the things you want to work on have been with you for many years. But it's very powerful. It's very, it really works. I have a lot of great testimonials of how it's helped people.
Interesting. This is something that you guys might want to check Katrina's website about. Now, we've been talking about so many things, but I want to like go back to beauty for a bit. What are your favorite like compounds, or what are some of the things that you would look for your own self in, like, let's say you're looking at, I don't know what all people use because I'm not so much into the beauty part of it, but like let's say you're looking at a moisturizer or you see something on a holistic pop-up shop. What are some of the
The most important ingredients for anti-aging and for keeping the skin fresh and youthful is vitamin C.
Mhm.
Vitamin C has a bigger molecule than a free radical, so it's best to be used in the morning under your moisturizer. So it puts a block on the free radicals eating away at your skin, which are formed by pollution, UV light, the sun, and such. And then vitamin A, which is retinol, is also another very good anti-aging product. You can also take the supplements for that as well. And what that does is it regenerates, it tightens, it firms, it reduces pigmentation, as does vitamin C. Hyaluronic acid is also very good. It binds 1,000 times in its own weight to fill your skin full of water. And when your skin is properly hydrated, you don't have any lines or wrinkles. So most skins, no matter what skin type you are, is going to be dehydrated on some level. Water is very important. You should always drink lots of water through the day. That doesn't include tea or coffee, which could be quite dehydrating. Herbal teas are fine, but you need to drink pure, clean water. Lemon water is also good because it alkalines the body. Most of us live in an acid body, which is only supposed to happen before you die. So with all the sugar that we eat, protein actually makes your body acid as well. So you have to counteract that with vegetables and that kind of thing. But yeah, these are the 3 top ingredients I will always look for in a product. AHAs, alpha hydroxy acids, which regenerate the skin, anything that regenerates the skin. So sadly, after the age of 25, everything in the body starts to deteriorate. We don't make as much collagen and elastin. And, you know, aging is very equated to the lifestyle that you have, not necessarily your biological age. So there's a big difference there, you know. So I always say the younger you start, the better. I was cleansing my skin at the age of 12. My mother taught me well. And, you know, this is what we have to do. Cleansing, exfoliation is very important because then products can penetrate properly. If you're not cleaning your skin properly, if you're not exfoliating to get rid of the dead skin cells, because we lose hundreds of thousands of skin cells every day of the year. So if you don't remove that, you'll get a build-up. And when you get a build-up, it causes a barrier, and then nothing you put on top of that will penetrate properly. So we have to exfoliate on average at least once a week.
Once a week. Okay, that's not too hard. And like as soon as I'm talking to Katrina, I'm just taking these mental notes and like, okay, step 1 is this, step 2 is this, step 3 is this. Okay, so exfoliating once a week, have those three compounds in anything that you use. But what about one of the things that I always hear about recently is the effects of masks on skin. Has this been under your radar? Have you?
Totally not good.
Not good. So like plastic masks or have a cloth mask or don't?
They're all bad.
Okay.
We need to breathe the air. Masks block you from doing that.
And how can we hack it?
Well, how can you hack it? That's the thing. I always wear it on my chin these days. I'm not a good role model. I mean, look. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other subject, but you should only wear it for the day and then throw it away. Don't reuse them.
Yeah.
The cloth masks you can wash if you like, but don't keep reusing a mask because the bacteria from the outside, you know, your saliva, you're breathing out carbon dioxide, so that's not good. You're inhaling it back in, you know, so you're getting all this bacteria
recycling
accumulated in this piece of face. Even change it 2-3 times a day depending on what you're doing.
Is there something like a compound or like a cream that we should or shouldn't put
I mean, what's quite a good thing to do is get some good tea tree oil. Tea tree is an antibacterial, antifungicidal, antiseptic, anti-germicidal. It's anti everything. And you would maybe, if you bought an empty spray bottle and you'd fill it with purified water or spring water and add maybe 10 drops of tea tree oil, and you could spray that on the mask and that would kill, and use it as a disinfectant because these antibacterial disinfectants are terrible for the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. So you'd be better with something more natural. Oregano oil is another one. Basil, cypress, thyme. They're all antiseptic, antibacterial.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good alternative.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I hope you guys have been taking notes, and if not, you could rewind back and listen to this again, but don't do it while you're driving. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you for sharing all of that. And I also see, like, anti-aging has been a big focus in the past few years. But now, as we move forward, a lot of people, like you mentioned, are looking at gracefully aging. And from the looks of it, the way I'm seeing things is that in a few years, probably people would like not want to invest so much of money, like especially because they have been like research from Avon and things like that, that over 40% of the people above the age of 50 now they're not even going to get this anti-wrinkle creams and things like that. They want to gracefully age, so they want to go for the more natural look. And do you see this happening most of the times?
Not anytime soon.
Maybe
But,
not in this region.
I think in Dubai we live in a very unrealistic
Mm-hmm.
time zone, in a bubble. We are living in a bubble here,
Okay.
where there's lots of young, beautiful women.
Yeah.
There's clinics and spas. I think it's over 3,000 clinics and spas
Wow.
in Dubai. I mean, we are saturated. Women have a lot more expendable income here, so we are like the mini Hollywood. We're even probably past Hollywood in the form of aesthetics.
Yeah.
I mean, the town is absolutely saturated.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think as an older woman you can look 20 again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good to look good for your age.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you start overdoing the filler, the Botox, the treatments, the laser, you start to look ridiculous. And it looks very unnatural. I mean, even the young girls nowadays, what do you think they're going to look like when they hit 40?
Mhm.
It's horrendous to think of. So I've always tried to keep it natural. Yes, I do Botox. Yes, I've done filler. I've done threads. I haven't done much laser in my life, I have to say.
Mhm. Is that something you would want to do? Like experiment with?
Yeah, I mean, I work with laser.
Okay.
I mean, I've done, and there's some amazing lasers on the market now.
Yeah.
But what's important when you're choosing laser is to get a really qualified therapist that knows what she's doing, because there's so many different lasers for different things: tattoo removal, acne, pitted scarring on the skin, and it's much, much quicker than the original. Another one of my favorite things, which is a natural way, is microneedling. Because what the needling actually does, you get it in a roller form or you get it in the pen, which is like a little drill. It pumps in and out of the skin.
Like a derma roller.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what this does is it naturally stimulates your own collagen and elastin. So there's nobody that can ever be allergic to that. And there is home kits that you can buy. You maybe do it three or four times a week in the evening.
Okay.
So what you're doing is you're stimulating your own fibroblast, coupled with a good serum for your particular skin. And that's what I do a lot of on my own face. And it's amazing. It plumps up the skin, it gives you a glow, it evens out the pigmentation, it reduces wrinkles. And so people that don't want to invest big money, it's a good alternative.
I used to have a routine, which I used to do every Wednesday, and I'm going to run it by you. And please tell me if it was sort of, is it going in the right direction or not?
Pretty good skin.
Yeah.
How old are you?
31 now. I'm going to be 31 soon. So I'm still a little bit
But
young.
you're Indian.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so you've got the genetics to begin with, Asian, African, Arab, you've all got much more collagen in your skin than we Caucasians do. So you age a lot better, your skin stays a lot, you have a much stronger skin naturally. So it's less effort for you to have good skin.
Thank you. I do not spend a lot of time in my skincare routine, which I want to change, because I was, like I mentioned, like last year we were home most of the time, so I could get some time off. And I don't think I've ever shared this online with anyone, but this is how it went. So every Wednesday, I also have a vibrating platform here, and we know that's very good for circulation, lymphatic drainage. Have a minute trampoline, so I would spend at least 15 minutes first
Amazing.
thing on one of
Trampoline
those.
is amazing. 15 minutes, because what it does is it shakes up all the lymph.
Mhm.
And the lymph is like your garbage bag inside the body, and it takes all the toxins from the body. So it reduces swelling, it gets rid of toxins, it gets rid of water retention. It's usually better for women than it is for men, because men don't usually suffer from that kind of thing. So the trampoline is an excellent thing to do.
So I would do that every morning, and but on Wednesdays I would do the trampolining first, and then I had a derma roller, so I would wash my face, use the derma roller, and after the derma roller, I would use some kind of a clay and make a clay mask.
Amazing.
Well, it's volcanic ash or it's. I experimented with a few Moroccan Kasul clay, and once that's done, I would sit and meditate like right behind you. At that time, I just had this red light panel, so this it has red and near infrared light panels, and it's quite powerful. So it would just blast that light on my face while I would meditate. 20 minutes in, I'm done. Then I would just go and use a scrub and remove, like, just wash my face, use a scrub, and then use a serum with some gold and some other things on my face. But I've lost it. Yeah.
Check you out.
Am I going in the right direction?
You should always scrub before you put the mask on.
Okay, so scrub before you put the mask on.
Because when you exfoliate, your skin is super clean. So anything you put on top of that is going to penetrate fully, because we have 5 layers to the skin.
Mm-hmm.
So the epidermis is the top layer, the dermis is the bottom layer.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally you want everything to penetrate to the dermis, because that's where all the activity, the collagen and elastin is being formed.
What's your favorite exfoliator? Any brands, anything?
I don't like harsh exfoliators with kernels in them or little. The spherical beads are okay, but what they do is they microscopically scratch the skin. I much prefer papaya enzyme, AHA enzymes, where it comes in more or less a gel format, and you massage it around the skin so it eats away at the dead skin cells as opposed to scrub them off.
Okay, so look for something with one of those enzymes.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that is, that was one of the things I was like, let me ask her should I get back on it or not? So this will motivate me to get back. I've just been a bit busy and the timing system has been like messed up. But
if you're going to use the infrared, you do it at the end once you've done everything.
Yeah.
Because you could put your moisturizer on and then do the infrared light
at the
because
end.
It regenerates, it stimulates, it's very good for anti-aging.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. And we've just been talking, but I think we're almost coming to the end of this interview. And thanks so much for sharing all of your wisdom, all of your years of experience, showing us something really cool. And guys, please check out our website, because we haven't even scratched the surface of the kind of things she's been doing. So I would highly encourage you to do that. But my last question to you is, if you had a time machine, right? Let's say hypothetically you had a time machine and you could rewind back a few years, 10, 15, 20 years in your life, and you could give yourself maybe 1 to how many pieces of advice, what would your main piece of advice be? And this, you cannot, it's not just regarding beauty, it could be with anything. Like, which dimension of your life would you give yourself an advice, and what would you, not what would you change, but like, what would you tell your younger self?
What would I tell my younger self? I would tell her not to worry so much about everything, because everything always happens when the time is right. And we spend a lot of time worrying about what we don't have. Do we have enough money, and blah, blah, blah. But a few years ago, I realized that looking back on my life, I've always been provided for. The universe will never let you down. So you have to trust that. And if you're in a sticky situation where you might not have enough money, or you might want to go somewhere and you don't know if it's the right thing to do, ask for guidance. Ask, connect to your higher self, connect to your spirit guides, to the angels, to God, to whatever you believe in, and the answers will come. we have to trust more and have faith more in life.
Mhm. And is there like some prerequisition that you need to tap into these, altered states of communication?
No, you just ask.
You just ask.
Ask in your head, what do I need to know? Show me a sign. Give me a clear sign. I remember there was one lady said, I want to see an orange bus in 2 hours if I'm meant to go ahead with whatever it was.
Mhm.
And it was so random and totally probably not possible, but she saw an orange bus.
And this brings me like a question. When was the last time you guys saw an orange bus? I don't remember when was the last time I really saw an orange bus.
Yeah.
But
so you have, give me a sign. Show me a feather on the ground. Show me a gold coin. Give me a phone call in 10 minutes. Anything. But, if you believe in an altered state of reality, spirituality, God, your angels, the angels need to know what you want in order to provide it. And they love to prove you right.
interesting. I've never heard someone say that before. So everyone who's listening,
ask, if you don't know, if they don't know what you want, how can they provide it for you?
okay, so this brings
the
us
more
back.
clear you could be, the better.
There is someone bigger than your own self looking out for you, and they don't have a crystal ball. They might have other things we don't know yet, but they don't have a crystal ball, so they can't guess what's in your head.
And gratitude.
Gratitude.
Be grateful every single day.
Mhm.
We are in 2% of the whole world population that have a roof over our head and food on the table every day. And we forget the simple things in life. Running water, AC, computers.
Mhm.
All these things, a sofa to sit on, a bed to sleep in, a car to drive. Be grateful every single day, because gratitude is the quickest way to bring you more of what you want.
Okay. So be grateful, ask for help, whether it's your angels or even if it's your neighbor. Just go ahead, raise your hand, ask for help, just like I did to get her here on the show today. And Katrina, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything that you've been doing, all the lives you've touched, all the people that you've healed, all the positive and the blessings of energies and spiritual guides that you've brought into this world. I really appreciate you on behalf of everyone. And if someone wants to find you, if someone wants to work with you, if someone wants to smell these beautiful essential oils, how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, so I'm on my website, it's katrinavalente.com. I'm on Instagram every day under Katrina Valente and the number 1. Facebook is also my name. And I'm in Dubai. So if you're in Dubai, please connect. You can see me in person. If not, I do Zoom calls, I do online work.
Mhm.
And you can buy the essences online as well.
Okay, perfect. So katrinavalente.com. If you follow my Instagram, she is there. So you can find her from there as well. And this is me, CJ, signing out from the Shift with CJ podcast. Have a beautiful day. See what I did there? Have a beautiful day ahead of you. Enjoy. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.